Good morning, folks. This is Tim Ealer. How you doing today? Today is the 17th of September, 2025. I hope y'all having a great week so far with a heavy hump day. And we now have, looking to tropical Atlantic, we now have um, Tropical Depression 7 out here in the main development region in the Central Atlantic. And this gives a good look here at it. Um, Infrared, well, water vapor brightness temperature. Um, it's kind of glitching a little bit, but you see an upper low kind of to its uh, northwest here, and it's kind of shifting off this way, and it's kind of weakening, but it's also imparting some shear on the system. But the National Hurricane Center noted that even though the circulation is a little bit elongated right now, there's enough organization to classify it as a tropical depression. Um, it doesn't look as well, as well formed as did yesterday, but um, likely what's going to happen is there's going to be a reformation of the center eventually once this upper low kind of gets out of the way and weakens. Um, there's another way to look at this. I'm going to This is a water vapor loop showing red, green, and blue. See the drier air to the north here? Uh, you can see it here, and not a lot of. It's almost like there's some convergence. Um, there's a lot of divergence in this area, right? And some convergence at the surface here, but there's some negative impacts on the system right now in this area. Uh, but what I'm seeing is that it looks like it's trying to establish outflow aloft, even though it's somewhat um, hindered on this side right now because of that upper level feature. And it's forecast to move generally this way, away from the Caribbean islands and towards Bermuda, possibly in the longer term. Looking at the National Hurricane Center outlook here, Tropical Depression 7, and you have this other disturbance that has potential to develop out in the tropical Atlantic, but I don't see a lot of support for it right now. We're just going to have to see. Um, Environmental conditions aren't going to be that great, as it's been most of this tropical season. So we'll just have to see. And we look at this a little bit more here with the warning and interactive map of the system. Tropical Depression 7, ventral track and cone. There's a previous track to the right here. Forecast to become a tropical storm in the next day or two, move to the northwest, and eventually become a hurricane out here in the open Atlantic. Here's the legend if you want to look at that. Basically, a fish storm up until it gets Bermuda's up in here, even though we can't see where it is on this map. But um, really, that looks like to be the only threat at this time. So what I'm gonna do now is go through the different model guidance. But first of all, this is the previous track and its current location. This is the multi-model ensemble guidance for its track. Um, this is from the Tomerberg website. He has a really good website with some good information here. This is the EPS, GFS, GEFS, and CMC Super Ensemble. All the different lines kind of mesh together, or all the ensemble members, and the darker colors indicate, and brighter colors indicate higher confidence in the short term, of course, and the spread increases over time. But you can see some bring it towards Bermuda, but majority of the members are to the right of it, and that's been the theme this year. A lot of recurvature out to sea if something does develop with a persistent trough along the east coast. Permit me, I'm pouring myself some coffee this morning. Um, so this is the deterministic tracks, and this is basically showing like each model, not the um, ensembles, right? And this is one deterministic run. As we know, the GFS has 31 members and the EPS has 51. The deterministic run, the operational run, is just the one run that they use in the forecast. And what I think seemed kind of odd to me today was that, see, the GFS, like, just loses the circulation totally and goes nowhere, basically dies out, and the rest of the models all do this. So, in the Google DeepMind. So, I think for some reason the GFS is out to lunch on this one, but if the GFS it ends up being right, then hats off to it. But usually it's the most aggressive with these things, so it's kind of surprising. Maybe it knows something the other models don't. I really don't know, but that's what it's showing right now. So moving on to the potential model forecast intensity. Really doesn't make any sense about the GFS given what it's showing for intensity, but you see most models want to bring it to a hurricane. All of them do actually. Halves A, B, all the hurricane models. GFS, ships is their intensity model that's run. So this is your EPS track density. This is the what I talked about earlier, the EPS European 51 members. You can see the track ensemble mean a fair amount of confidence in short to midterm here, but with not a lot of members showing support for Bermuda, that they might be weaker members move this way. Uh, GFS, see what I'm talking about here. This is the operational run, and this is most of the members. It's a lot further to the left, and then it has quite a few members that move towards the Caribbean. But this is, like I said, I don't put much weight on this. Okay, this is the Canadian model. Same thing. It wants to take it straight over Bermuda, but we'll just have to see when the center really gets formed and where it initializes at in future runs, and then we have a better idea of where it'll be going. So I'm going to bring it up into Atlantic Canada, but which is not unheard of, but that's a long ways off. Google DeepMind. This is one of the more right leading members here. Quite a bit of confidence in the where I think it's going to go. So um, Google DeepMind has performed well this year, so we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Now, all right, so moving on with TD7 here. This is the first light visible satellite loop here. If I get this thing to go, it stopped working on me. Anyway, this is it. Uh, I'm not that impressed with the way it looks right now. And the latest GFS run echoes that sentiment in the short and midterm here. If we look at the GFS and current, more or less the current location of it, right? Once we move it to the north, keeps it quite weak and not strengthening it until it kind of hangs out there south of Bermuda, then recurves and then finally strengthens. Becomes a powerful extratropical cyclone. 929 millibars. Wow, that's incredible. So it's been the general theme this year, the models are aggressive with it, and the environment just isn't supporting it. Um, Eventually, they start agreeing that it's not going to develop as much as we originally thought. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over different model guidance, to be honest, because we really don't know what it's going to do. The model guidance is just all over the place with it. But this is maybe one of the reasons why there's some issues with it developing here. Very broad circulation down here. This is the 500 millibar geopotential height, cyclonic vorticity, and wind, right? And the GFS really doesn't have an aligned vortex. See it barely right there. Finally, and when it gets to about here, you see some vorticity consolidating and then intensifying quite rapidly. And you have this other system down here that might do something, but I'm not going to hold my breath either. This year has been very strange in the tropics, I'll tell you. Another way to look at this is the cyclonic vorticity, pressure, and the potential vorticity, right, with the system. Quite broad and just um, all over the place. Just another look at it and see how it finally consolidates south of Bermuda, goes out to sea. I'm gonna show you the relative humidity associated with this as well. And this is pretty accurate here with the dry air around it, which has been another theme of the tropics this year. Surrounded by dry air, doesn't really generate its own moisture pocket until it gets in the subtropical Atlantic and moves out to sea. A lot of dry air on its western flank. And you can see another deep low off the east coast going through the flow here. Looks like a cutoff low developing there off the east coast of the United States. This is quite an amazing storm if it does become this. All right. So this is the latest GEFS ensemble guidance as well. You can see here, this makes up 31 members. And the little circles that would appear are an indicator of some stronger systems with the pressure surrounding it here. And moves it out to sea. And you have this other system potentially down here following it. But again, this is the 27th of September, the end of the run. So overall, not that impressed with Tropical Depression 7 right now. We'll see what the Hurricane Center says at 11 o'clock. I think the next update. I It doesn't look like it's going to do much, especially in the short to midterm right now. That's it for the tropics, guys. I'm going to go over the continental U.S. forecast next. Moving on to the current conditions in the continental U.S., we got ongoing shower and storms in southern Florida with the infrared satellite loop. You can see that with the higher colored cloud tops with the red and oranges and yellows. Got the low pressure off the eastern seaboard here. Lots of dry air being pulled in. Lots of moisture associated with it as well. Kind of moving up and around here, being pulled back this way. And some additional moisture being pulled down here into the southeast today, which we could use the rain, that's for sure. We have a trough here in the east. Looks like a middle upper level feature there. And if we look at the water vapor loop, we can see these features, right? It's going like this, flow. Kind of a complicated setup right now. And this low pressure, I'm pretty sure is forecast to cut off eventually, kind of hang out in this area. um, let's look at the upper levels real quick. Yeah, deep trough still going in the Gulf of Mexico. Interesting stuff going on. Lots of dry at the low levels, but you can see the pocket of moisture even at the low levels moving into the southeast. Not as much, nearly as much dry air at the mid levels that there has been, um, but looks like to me there's some shortwave region going on right here with this feature rotating around it. Okay, so that being said, let's look at the radar real quick. You see these features, pretty well as well on the radar into the northeast here. Ongoing shower and storms into Florida and into the middle part of the country and in the desert southwest here. uh, so on to the tropical forecast for the global tropics outlook here from the Climate Prediction Center. We have our system ongoing here. 20% chance development from the 24th September to 30 September. I think this is partially due with the two systems we may have developing, or we have TD7 and other disturbance out there. And the Climate Prediction Center thinks maybe we'll get something going in the Central American gyre, especially towards the into the first week of October, and the main development region again with enhanced precip chances out there. Remains to be seen what's going to happen there, though. I'm not too bullish on the tropics right now, given what's happened so far in the tropical Atlantic this year. It's just been underwhelming to say the least. Future temps here above normal for most of the continental U.S. Expected from the 22nd through the 26th was issued yesterday. Precip chances above normal precip expected along the west coast of the United States and along the Gulf Coast, and below normal chances of precip and near normal in the rest of the country. So, When we look at the general flow here, we see what we're talking about. At the mid levels, you have a cutoff low here, gets absorbed in the main flow. You have another low in the middle part of the country, but high pressure building in this way, and another one out west here. Move through time with this. I'll slow this down a little bit. That low moves to the east. Some ridging building into the middle part of the country, with another low developing and dropping to the south here, and cutting off according to this model run, and staying that way, and really a deep trough developing with a large scale ridge building in eventually to the middle part of the country. Let's keep this moving on. Large scale ridging with troughing is building in the east. But overall, the flow seems to kind of flatten out towards the end of the period here. See what I'm talking about. This is to October. So this echoes what the Climate Prediction Center has said with the temperature forecast here. And if we go back, we can see the longer range temperature outlook as well. Good chances above normal temps for much of the U.S. except for on the West Coast. So get ready for some, or what you call an Indian summer coming up. Um, when we're talking about temps, this is model guidance from the next couple of days for temperatures. This is apparent temperature heat index, right? Moving through time. Of course, during the nighttime, it's cooler, but getting close to 90s and 100 heat index in the next 48 hours. You can see where the hottest temps are. Desert Southwest, the middle part of the country. Intermountain West is kind of cool, and Northeast cools off some. But overall, definitely getting hot during the day, 80s, 90s, in a good portion of the country, except for the northern high plains. This is 2 days out. So that's that. As far as precip goes, the largest areas here you can see middle part of the country along the East Coast and then Florida. Move this through time here. Oh, got to refresh. There we go. A lot of precip here in the southwest and the western part of the U.S. and along that boundary and into Florida, really, right? And through Saturday, that's where most of the precip is expected. But on the East Coast, it'll kind of move out, and we're going to stay bone dry here in the south. It looks like um, up until Saturday at least. So, as far as heat index goes, we can see where the oranges are, where the highest heat index and impacts are going to be. Moderate impacts, really, for the good portion of the country east of the Mississippi River, some of the other southwest. But overall, you know, not terrible, although it's going to be hotter, but it won't be in the hundreds or anything. So, um, so that's that. And I'm going to go over the long term, not long term, midterm severe weather risk, and then I'm going to call it a day for today. All right. So as far as severe weather goes, there's not a lot going on except for today. We have a slight risk in the just east of the Rockies, surrounded by a larger marginal risk, 2% tornado risk into the far western Oklahoma, northwest Texas, Colorado, uh, larger 5% wind risk, and a 15% hail risk around where the tornado risk is, and it's surrounded by 5% hail risk. After that, trying to get to day two here. um, General thunderstorm risk otherwise for all the country for tomorrow. Day three, same thing. Day four, day 4 through 8. I'll run it through real quick. No other areas predicted for the long term. So overall quiet after today. So that's all I got, guys. Hope you all have a great day and see you tomorrow.